Basically, what I'm seeing on all of the various podcast channels that are discussing Luigi Mangione, as well as the mainstream media, nobody's mentioning alibi. Remember, the Agnophilos and NYPD are consultants, paid consultants for Law and Order. That's owned by Universal Studios. BlackRock owns controlling interest in Universal Studios. BlackRock also owns pretty much all of the mainstream media that falls under what they call the left, which is basically neoliberal bullshit. And all this discussion about, did the police have the right to ask for an ID? Did the police follow his civil rights, due process, yada yada, all a distraction. I'm watching these pundits and journalists and police advisors and experts sit and do 30 and 40-minute videos going over all the BS that's put out by BlackRock about the arrest in Pennsylvania, was his due process, everything that gone on. The only discussion that anybody should be having is alibi. We've all watched enough Law and Order to know when somebody gets killed by someone else, a person or multiple somebodies, and the police show up, start asking questions. Did you know anybody who'd want to hurt this person? Did they have an abusive ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend? Did they have a beef with anybody? And some neighbor says, oh, well, I saw him or her arguing with so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Now the police have a suspect, so they go talk to whoever it was that was arguing with the dead person, the homicide victim, 3 hours before they got tossed up, before they fell off a roof, and evidence makes it look like they didn't jump, that they were thrown. Maybe the doors busted in. There was things knocked around in the apartment, and then the next thing you know, it go off a balcony. Whatever. Or get shot. Or ran over by a car. Whatever. So then the police show up to the suspect, their work or their home or whatever. So-and-so's dead. The neighbor saw you arguing with so-and-so. And then eventually it leads to, well, do you have an alibi for the time of the murder? And the police have to look into it. They don't have an option. They cannot omit exculpatory evidence. The police have to go, they have to listen to the person give their alibi, and they have to check into it. If it's a solid alibi, they have to move on. That means that person has been cleared. They have to move on to whoever. They have to keep looking for the murderer. If the person lied about their alibi, deliberately gave misinformation, okay, now that's even more evidence to make that person look guilty. Okay? So it's not, either way, they have to look into it. We haven't heard. Now, how do we know this? Because of all those Law and Order episodes. Who were the technical consultants for Law and Order? NYPD and the Agnophilos. And I'm sure there was probably plenty of other lawyers and experts. And they're there to make sure that the writers of the Law and Order episodes are doing things realistic and in compliance with how the state of New York would handle state or federal investigations. So these expert consultants who helped the writers of Law and Order for 22, 23 seasons. NYPD and the Agnafilos are now all of a sudden completely ignoring the discussion of an alibi at all. Mangione did all that yelling in his Pennsylvania perp walk. Oh, it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people. Why wasn't he yelling out his alibi? It's real suspicious that this guy had so much to say, wrote a manifesto, though we know he didn't write it, but still, he has so much to say, but isn't going on the news and telling us where the fuck he was at the time that Brian Thompson got shot. We know he's not the shooter. We can look at the video of the shooting and see he does not match that description. We know the police lied about the city bike being they tore up Central Park and supposedly found a backpack with Monopoly money in it because the shooter got on an e-bike, a New York City rental bike, and then docked it at Central Park. Where's the ID of whoever rented that e-bike? Oh, well, there was no e-bike used. So you tore up Central Park and just coincidentally found a backpack with Monopoly money in it. Even though you now say you didn't really have probable cause to go tear up Central Park. So what they're doing, all of that is a big distraction from the real question that everybody should be asking. Okay, we know the guy's not the shooter. Where's his fucking alibi? Why hasn't his attorneys produced what we know is going to be a very good alibi? Why hasn't NYPD gone on the news and said, they see all these, they're bitching and pissing and moaning about people sending Luigi money and supporting Luigi, but they haven't come forward and said, hey, we asked Luigi and we asked the Agnafilos, his defense, for an alibi, and they won't give us one. So the police could end all this public sympathy real quick. What's more, the Agnafilos, Luigi and his defense attorneys, could easily end the Brady violations by NYPD and whoever else by asserting his alibi. Whatever it is. Whether he was somewhere eating breakfast, or he was asleep at a hotel, or in a hostel, or in a cab, or even walking down the street. They can pull Ring doorbells, all kinds of surveillance videos in the vicinity of where he says he was to prove he was where he said he was. Nobody's even talking about it. Nobody's even mentioning. Nobody's calling out NYPD for not mentioning an alibi or the lack thereof, and nobody's mentioning that the defense isn't providing an alibi. All those licensed professionals are wrong. They're all just coincidentally ignoring the most important first fucking thing that the police or the defense, you go to a defense attorney, here's the first, so the Mangione family calls up the Agnafilos and says, we want you to defend our boy Luigi. The first fucking thing the Agnafilos should ask Luigi, okay, you say you're not the guy who shot Brian Thompson. Give us your alibi. We need your alibi. And they can't ignore that. Nobody can deliberately omit exculpatory evidence. That's Brady violations. So you have the Agnafilos and Luigi violating Brady. all of whom work for BlackRock. Now, the Mangione family, we know, is wealthy because they had nursing homes. That's healthcare. That means they probably had contracts with United and probably had contracts with BlackRock-owned medical labs. And I don't even know what else BlackRock owns in the medical field. Don't know. Don't care. But, I mean, I'm not watching, and I'm a paid subscriber I'm a paid channel member of Status Coup and other channels. And when they're talking about Luigi, if I don't see alibi in the title, if I click on the video and they're arguing all of the bullshit they're going over, they're all upset because Luigi is getting support and public. Who gives a fuck? Get to the point. Where's his fucking alibi? My time is precious to me. And I'm not going to watch 10, 15, 20, 30-minute videos hashing out all of the distractive psyop bullshit putting out by BlackRock and their consultants, NYPD, and the Agnafilos. Because it's irrelevant. The only thing that the Altoona police should have done is said, okay, Mr. Mangione, or whoever, you say you're not the shooter, give us your alibi. Why did you going to tell me that Altoona police and the Altoona defense attorney for Luigi and NYPD all conveniently forgot to ask the kid for his alibi? Even though they can look at the goddamn video and the still shots of the shooting and see he's not the fucking shooter. This ain't rocket science, people. So you got to ask, what's really going on? That's all. Luigi has to be, and his family are partners in crime with United, and they're helping NYPD and BlackRock cover for whoever, for the real shooter. That's the only thing that makes sense here, because that's exactly what's happening. Nobody's looking into who really shot him, because the Mangiones and the Agnafilos and the press, owned by BlackRock too, are all talking about all this other crap, civil rights violations and no due process. They're not practicing due process either. They're not asking and establishing that boy's alibi. Now, if he was right around the corner from the shooting, watching it go down, now he's got a problem. That's the only reason why he wouldn't assert one. If he was in the immediate vicinity. I mean, like, real close. Then he's got a problem. That's the only thing that makes sense. Is he was watching that shit go down. So that's why you don't see me posting a lot about it. I'm a cryptologist, I'm a code breaker, I naturally go over things logically, but I'm not going to take their bait. I'm not going to sit and argue about this or that, or should they have asked him for the ID? He didn't commit a crime, so they shouldn't have even been there. They shouldn't have been. Who gives a fuck? Why is nobody establishing that boy's alibi? Nobody. Multi-million-dollar media outlets, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, whatever. Nobody's talking about an alibi. Nobody. Come on, people. And they're plagiarizing